Once upon a time, my digestive system worked dependably, and the aftermath of certain foods was never a cause for concern. I didn't have to choose what I was going to eat or drink based on where I might be going later. I had an ironclad stomach. I could handle grease, spicy foods, sugar, processed foods, no problem. Unfortunately, middle age has brought me a brand new digestive system, one that makes me long for the digestive system of my youth. My first clue that changes were coming is so obvious in retrospect. I used to really like soda, but sometime in my late 20s, I noticed that anytime I would drink soda or any other carbonated beverage, I would get a really bad stomach ache. I used to love getting a cherry Coke now and then, and I'd probably still like the flavor of it, but I will never order a cherry Coke again because I don't want to risk a horrible stomach ache. Let's talk fried foods. Southern staples like fried chicken, fried fish, fried shrimp, chicken fried steak, a whole assortment of fried vegetables. I'm originally from South Florida, which isn't really Southern culturally, but my mom and her family are all from Georgia. So these Southern style foods are all foods that I grew up with and are exactly what I think of when I think comfort food. Now, as delicious as these dishes are, unfortunately now they just bring discomfort. Just thinking about them makes me start getting heartburn. I rarely will eat them now as, one, they're not healthy choices, and two, I don't want to spend a night of misery. Now, unfortunately, Publix sucks me in sometimes. Occasionally when I go grocery shopping, they'll be frying up some chicken and, oh my gosh, it just smells so good that I cave and I buy some. But I know full well that after I eat it, I'm going to be paying for it. So on the rare occasion that I cave and buy some, you can find me chasing my fried chicken with a handful of Tums to try to stave off the acid reflux nightmare that I'm going to be experiencing later that night. It's time to get gross. So fair warning, if you don't want to hear about number 2, stop watching now. My intestinal tract has also decided that it needs to be difficult, let's say. As a teenager, when I would have my period, I would sometimes have diarrhea for really no reason. I have since learned that this is pretty common in adolescence as the surge of hormones during the menstrual cycle can stimulate your intestines and rush things along. By the time that I was in my late teens, this had pretty much stopped, but since entering perimenopause, this has decided to make a reappearance in my life. The first few times that it happened, I just figured that I had eaten something that didn't really agree with me. But then I started to notice a pattern, that each time I would get my period, I would have diarrhea again. Just researching this a little bit on the internet a little bit more, I found that this is again normal when you're in perimenopause. All of those dang hormones again. I've also found that any sort of artificial flavorings will tear my guts up too. I love some of those flavored coffee drinks that you can get from a couple of the big chains. But while those syrups make the coffee so delicious, the stomach cramps and diarrhea that they cause in me make me avoid them like the plague. Unfortunately, no more treats like that for me. I also have the other side of the digestive coin, constipation. This never used to be an issue for me. But since being in my 40s, this has become really an uncomfortable norm. I have to make sure that I eat tons of high fiber foods to make sure that I can go to the bathroom every day. And even then, sometimes I have trouble and my body says, nope, not today. Now, as I talked about last time, I have really heavy periods, and these have left me anemic. I had to have surgery earlier this year. I'll talk about that on an upcoming vlog. And my blood work showed that my red blood cell count was pretty low. And that was basically due to my large blood loss every single month. So I now have to take a daily iron pill, which if you take iron, you know it plugs your system up even more. Unfortunately, all of the oatmeal, broccoli, and sweet potatoes in the world don't do the job sometimes. Maybe I should just start going to the coffee shop and having a mocha at the end of every day. What about you? Are you having tummy troubles as you get older too? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Help me know that I'm not alone in this. And I'd really appreciate it if you like my video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I really truly appreciate you watching. And remember, if you have time for only one other thing today, please be kind. I'll see you next time. Okay, work your magic.